All right, we're here with Jim Carty of the Patch Newspaper and Blues and Beyond YouTube channel, and I am here with my old pal from Boston by way of Nash Vegas now, Tom Hambridge. How you doing, Tom?
I'm good. How you doing?
It's so good to see an old pal. And hey, I didn't tell you before we started. I was at the Hampton Beach show with you and Buddy, and I ran into Adrian Hayes. I hope she got backstage to say hi.
Yeah. There was a lot of friends there, and I was able to say hi to everybody, and that was great. And Adrian, it was so great to see her.
She still looks the same, darn her.
I know we changed; she stays the same.
Yeah, she really does. She looks dynamite, and she probably could jump right up on stage after doing her medical career and still rip it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But
yeah. The Susan Tedeschi record's coming out this today or yesterday or something. The
I'm
Just One Part
excited.
reissue. Yeah. So
Yeah, I saw that. Isn't that amazing? So maybe we should start for people who are maybe unwashed yet and don't know who Tom Hambridge is, the man behind the many Grammys and hits. Tell me a little bio of yourself.
well, I guess what I do is for the past 100 years, I I produce records and for lots of artists, and I write songs on these records,
Mhm,
and I play drums on the records, and I arrange the music, and a lot of artists that are really talented and wonderful, and bands that are
mhm,
legendary or whatever, they come to me, and for that purpose, I've
mhm,
kind of got a reputation where a lot of bands are on the road touring or whatever, and they need to make a record,
mhm,
and they need to have songs and maybe a concept and the whole idea. And so
mhm.
I have I've made hundreds and hundreds of records, crazy as it sounds, and have had over 1,000 of my songs recorded by some of my favorite artists in the world, from ZZ Top to oh geez, Leonard Skinner,
Lynyrd Skynyrd.
BB King, whoever. I mean, just
Just
all my
study, yeah,
heroes. And
yeah.
and so
It's
every
ridiculous
time
to
something
say
comes
you
out,
look back on a life's work, Tom, and you're one of these guys who can say, wow, I truly have, worked with my heroes and made an impact in their
yeah.
lives
So
and
I
vice
feel
versa.
totally blessed, and I get to do this, and they keep coming back to me and calling, and even when they're a lot of the people that are my legendary people that I bought tickets to see them, and
Mm,
stood in the back and never dreamed I'd meet them. They come to my house, and they're so sometimes I have to like pinch myself a little bit when they're coming in the driveway or something. I
right.
go my wife will say, is that Billy Gibbons? And
Yeah.
whatever, and I'll go, I know, isn't it crazy? And but we just get to it, and I try to just
Mhm.
keep focused on why they're coming over,
Right.
and
There's a mission. Yep.
yeah, just stay focused on trying to make records. So these records that I do, they fortunately they get out in the world, and a lot of them win awards and win Grammys, and which a lot of times I'm included in that. So it's
So
nice.
how do you stay focused with Delbert McClinton? He's such a prankster.
Oh my gosh, I love Delbert.
I do too.
Jeez. I mean, no, I mean Delbert, it's not like work. It's
It-
when I'm
right.
hanging with him, it's just trying to keep up because he is just
Quick-witted, man.
quick-witted,
Yeah.
exactly. And some of the little words he puts together. If this was his coffee, he'd say, "Tom, man, hand me to that coffee, would you?" And I'd say, "What?" He go, "Hand me to it," and I'd give it to him. And
So,
it's just, and I go, "Hang on, I got to write that down."
yeah,
And
absolutely.
because he's just, and what a singer, and
Yeah.
fortunately, my band has been able to do his cruises, and I've been able to play on some of his records and write a lot of songs with him. So yeah, I'm very
These cruises, you've done a lot of the cruises, and I've done some of the cruises. I've always wanted to go on Delbert's. Who's producing probably the best cruise? And I don't want you to tick anybody off. I mean, I've been on Joe's cruise, the Rhythm and Blues cruise. I want to go on Delbert's cruise. I mean, or maybe you tell me what you like about the different cruises. I've seen you on the Rhythm and Blues cruise.
Yeah, I mean, I like them because for me, I never get to see the community of people unless
Right.
I'm working with them, and
Mhm.
so uh, and all the time, whenever I see them, I'm working, you know. So if it's Kingfish or Kenny Neal or whoever it is, I'm
Yep.
working with them. I'm in the studio. And so on the cruise, I can just hang out and go from lounge to the stage in the back to the, even just when I'm sitting at the Lido deck having breakfast,
Right.
I can, you know, I can sit at a table with 4 or 5 people that I never get to just chill and talk to. And
Yep.
and so it's I love that, and I get to hear everybody do their thing,
Mm.
and I get to do my thing. And a lot of the people that I make records for go, geez, I just saw you play, you know, on the deck outside, and I didn't
Mm.
know that you guys did that, and you know, or you could do that. Or sometimes they'll say, I didn't know you sang, or I didn't know you played drums, and I go,
Right.
I played drums on all your albums. You know, they go, I know, I
Yep.
forgot, you know, and I go, I know, well, you know, so it's always a fun thing, and all those cruises are different. And they're really cool. And matter of fact, I did the Simple Man cruises for years, which
Yes.
were
Yes.
started with Lynyrd Skynyrd, and so my band was very fortunate to get on those cruises early on with everybody from bands coming, you know, Blackberry Smoke and
Mm.
Blackstone Cherry, and bands that weren't hitting yet, you know,
Yep. Yep.
and you know, Molly Hatchet and Marshall Tucker and Rodney Crowell and everybody that, you know. So those were always wonderful, and I know Skinner stopped doing them,
Yep.
but I'm sure they'll do something coming up, you know.
Actually, I want to jump in. That was one of my questions that I was withholding from you was I took the death of Gary Rossington harder than I thought.
Yeah.
Um, how did that impact you? Just knowing the guy and his impact on the music world and losing the last member.
Yeah, that was hard. That was
Yeah.
really hard because uh um you know, he was the first guy from Skinner that I wrote with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was doing a solo record, you know, Rosington Collins, you know that band,
They opened
they
for
don't it?
Skinner when I saw they were my first concert at Great Woods, and it was
Wow.
Rosalind Collins and Skinner.
So they I got a call from his management company saying, Gary's doing a record with his wife
Oh,
like that record, and they're gonna do another one. They hadn't done one since this, and they wanted to write some songs for it, and they had listened to a couple of records that I had done, and they thought maybe I'd be a good match. And so Gary and his wife Dale came over in a limo to my house. They
mhm.
got out, they came in, and a lot of times I prepare stuff. So at writing sessions, so I have some ideas, so that we're
Right,
not sitting there for 2 hours going, "What are we gonna? What do we do?"
right. Ruminating and spinning and
Yeah, I
getting
try to,
off
when they
track.
come in, I try to go, "Hey, this is an idea I have, that I think you could sing, or this is a concept."
Yeah.
And so we started writing, and we got like halfway through a song, and all of a sudden, and Gary was very quiet, and Dale was singing along with the lyrics, and I was playing, and we were having a good time. And then she said, "Hold on one second," and Gary wanted to talk to her, and they got up and they said, "We got to leave," and they left. And I remember thinking, "Wow, I really must have said, I really
Dropped the
must have
ball here.
offended him," you know. And so, anyways, I was just sitting there, and then all of a sudden, the limo comes back in, and they come back in, and Gary like gives me a hug, and he says, "Man, I normally don't interact like this," and it was kind of a you know, it was, when you're writing, it's kind of you're opening, you're talking about your feelings and stuff.
It's a personal thing, you know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he said, I'm really enjoying this, and can we continue?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Absolutely." And so we wrote a bunch of songs, and it was really cool. And he told me, he opened up, he told me about being on the plane, and
Oh,
he
geez.
told me all this stuff. Like he just was this wonderful. I mean, it was amazing, and I'm such a fan of theirs.
Right.
And I have seen them and bought all their records and ingested all their music, that,
Yeah.
and I just seen them on album covers. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
and I was just amazed. So anyways, he left and we did that. And then about 6 months later, they called and their management, Lynyrd Skynyrd's management, and they said,
Mhm.
the Skynyrd, all the guys want to come.
Sweet.
Gary said, you got to come to see Tom. And so that was my relationship. We started on their records. They would come and we would get together and we would write, the Vicious Cycle record and all those records. And
As a
it,
DJ, I spun red, white, and blue constantly.
oh
I
yeah,
I
yeah,
support the troops, and I loved that it became an anthem for the troops. And you know,
yeah.
uh, I don't remember if that was one of the ones that you had a hand in
No, but I was
writing.
on that album. I mean, I think I had 7 songs on that record.
Yeah.
But the thing about it too is, uh, I mean, I don't know how deep you want to get into this, but I mean, there's a song on their greatest hit record called Mad Hatter. And
Mhm.
uh, when I was writing with the whole band, when they first came over, I took a chance. I had this song called Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
Well, it's called The Cat with Nine Lives, because Gary had told me the story about Leon Wilkinson, the bass player for Lynyrd
Yes.
Skynyrd, and he was telling me that he died in the plane crash, and I said, "Well, he didn't die in the I didn't know how to. I go, unless I'm nuts. I mean, he's still with you," and
Mm.
he had he goes, well, he died, but they brought him back.
Mm.
He went to the hospital. He was dead, and he
Jesus.
brought him back. And then he goes, but he's died before. That's what he said to me. And I go, what? And he goes, yeah, he died on a bus one time.
Oh,
This
wow.
incident happened, and we had to divert the bus on the way to a show to a hospital, and they brought him back to life again. And so he goes, yeah, he goes, he's died quite a few times. And I was just
That's
going, what are
I,
you talking about? And so,
you know Weeping Willie, right? You know Weeping
yeah,
Willie, the
so
elder statesman of the blues in Boston. I took care of him in his elder years, and I used to have to dress him after his stroke, and I discovered how many gunshot wounds he had and how many knife wounds he had. Very same
that's
thing.
the same thing, because one of them was a knife wound that he, with Leon.
That's funny, but
And so I ended, when he said the whole band's coming over, I remembered this story. And then Leon had died in the 6 months that before they were coming over well, the whole band to write with me. So I wrote this song called The Cat with Nine Lives. And it's kind of this, really kind of heavy thing.
yeah,
And so we had to go to a hotel because there was too many guys in the band. They were all staying at the hotel.
I was
So
gonna say, yeah, there's a lot of
we had a
people.
suite at the Marriott.
Mhm.
Where they had amplifiers in there and everything in the suite, and roadies and guitar techs. And I because it was Huey Thomason and Ricky Medlock and Johnny Van Zant and Gary. So and me. So I show up and they're all badasses, they're all like, hey man, Gary says you're the shit, man. What do you got? And Gary goes, yeah, he's probably got something. What do you got? And I go, so I start playing this song, and the room gets quiet. Everyone's just quiet, and I'm playing it, and I'm thinking either they're going to hate me for this because I'm talking about their brother, and I have no right to talk about their brother, but I don't know. It's the feeling I have. So I play it, and they go, I finish. And they go, that's about Leon, and I go, yeah, and they go, that's about our brother Leon. I go, yeah, and they go, you're calling him the Cat in the Hat, or you're calling him the Cat in the Hat. And I go, well, he always had these hats on stage. I'm just saying, I don't know, but I'm just saying he was to me the Cat in the Hat. And they go, that's amazing because we called him the Mad Hatter because
No
he always
kidding.
had these hats. And they said,
Yeah.
is there any way we can change the title to the Mad Hatter? And I
Mm.
said, you can change it to anything you want. I said, I'm just throwing this out.
Mhm.
So that's how it was. It was a heavy day, and they were emotional about the song because it was deep, and they chimed in, and it was they said, can we say we love doing Give Me 3 Steps with you? And I
Mhm.
said, well, explain that to me. And they said, well, when we were out, the 3 guitar players out front, we'd always call him up during Give Me Three, and he'd be on the guitar line with us during Give
Mm.
Me Three. And I go, let's put that in there, and then the coolest thing about it was about 6 months later, I don't know how many long later, they recorded it. And MCA was going to come out with this double album, Sweet Home Alabama, Freebird, all their biggest songs, and they wanted to add one new song. And the band said, their choice said, it's got to be Mad Hatter.
Unequivocally, yeah. Oh, isn't that
And so
beautiful?
they put it on, and they called me, and Johnny Van Zant called and goes, hey, man, we're all sitting around. We're going to put Mad Hatter on that record. But we want to ask you something. That's your song, right? You wrote that song? And I go, well, I mean, I kind of wrote it with you guys. And they go, well, what do you mean? I mean, like you wrote 80% and then we split 20% or something. And I go, and I remember I was on a phone call, I was at lunch. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to record that. That's your song. I said, I think Johnny, Gary, Ricky, and me, we should just split it.
Yeah.
And he goes, you're saying 25% each on that song? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And he goes, you're sure? And I go, yeah. I go, whenever I write with somebody, it's 50%.
Because it's going to go on
You know, and it was
record that's definitely going to do units. I mean, you're going to get
it sold 1 million copies. I have a platinum album. I probably 2 million at this point. It's the greatest hit record.
Yeah.
And but in any event, also what happened was they said, John said, that's unbelievable. Thank you. And he hung up. And then I think the next day, their management called and said, the band wants to come back and spend like 3 days with you writing for the next record.
Nice.
And I think it was, also because I said that. I said, it's not, I'll come in with ideas and we'll write, but it's equal, And so they've been my buddies ever since. So in answer to that, Gary always was like a brother. He was always like if there was a thing going on and there was a lot of people around and I walked in, even with my daughters, or my wife, Gary would like point and go, them in the room. So we would always be with them, wherever it was a meet and greet, wherever it was. They're backstage, they're about to go on and they're clearing everybody. Yeah. He would look over, and when he pointed at something, everyone listened. He was the dude, and he would say, hey, those two, get some chairs on stage. I want Tom up here. And it just was an amazing feeling. And so when he passed, and I was on tour, and they called me because they were having a get together and a funeral, and I couldn't be there. But my heart sunk on that one. That was just kind of the, that was
the story is deeper than I anticipated, actually.
I'm sorry to run on that,
no,
but
they're totally merited. There's only so many friends you have in this world, like Gary was to you. Never mind music history.
Yeah,
and so I'm glad we talked about that.
And a part of history. I mean, that guy was Southern rock, and all that. That's him, man.
So Did the songwriting reputation start with the stuff for Susan, and was that what got the ball rolling, or were you? I mean, you were on Black Rose Records with Al Cocorocchio there.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love it.
How's Al doing, by the way?
He's great. I don't get to see him much. He's out working with a lot of country bands, and
he's still a worker, isn't he?
He's like 100 and he still outruns everybody. He's got a motor that won't stop ticking. I love it. No, he's the best. Yeah.
But so Susan, but I mean, you have.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of. I mean, that was a big record. I mean, I would have. I did an interview the other day, and somebody said, "What was the first time you heard one of your songs on the radio?" And I remember distinctly, it was on. I was driving down Storrow Drive by the Charles River, listening to BCN. And they said, we're going to have a new song by the Fools. Their new single's coming on the radio. It's called Trouble in the Hen House. and I had written that song, and they recorded it. And I thought at that point, damn, I've made it. I mean,
the Fools, baby, life sucks and you die, baby.
Fools, my favorite band, recorded one of my songs. Mike Gerard singing, and Richie, those guys are kicking ass. And I thought, I've made it, and I pulled over to listen to the song. And then, after that, Certified Love and a bunch of Judgment Day, a bunch of songs that I had written for TH and the Wreckage
Yeah.
came, local, regional singles. And then people were reaching out to me to write songs for them,
Yeah.
and play on their records and stuff. But the Susan definitely broke it open when
Yeah.
Just Will Burn and Rock Me Right were on the radio. That's when, like, record companies would call me and say, "You wrote Rock Me Right, right? And you
Mhm.
produced that, and that's you, right?" And I said, "Well, it's Susan Tedeschi, but I wrote it, and produced it." And they go, "Well, can you do that for Johnny Winter, or can you do that
Right.
for this person?" And so I started getting calls to. That's why I became this producer guy that wrote songs,
Mm.
as opposed to a producer guy that just engineers and you come in with the songs.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I was a little different. I was the guy that, well, we can write the songs, or I can write them with you, or I can write them by myself,
Mhm.
and I can produce the record. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, actually, I literally just watched the Skinner documentary again, that they have on YouTube. That's marvelous, and Al Cooper's in there, and they talk about Tom Dowd and the difference of the producers, and um, the impact of the producer can be great, but the songwriting. I got to tell you, I mean, Skin Deep for me is probably the most touching tune that I've heard you write with Buddy. I mean, you're out with Buddy now. You're in Macon, Georgia, home of the Allman Brothers.
That's
And
right. That's right. Yeah.
so, you want to say something about touring with Buddy? I know that he's so special, and I also want to know what you're going to do when you're done, because although this is a very long tour planned, when that's done, it's going to open you up to doing more of what you do, right?
Yeah. I think this, I mean, we're in Macon, Georgia tonight. We were in, uh, where were we last night? We were in Tupelo, Mississippi,
Oh
and
wow.
Elvis, and sold out, amphitheater or whatever. And
Hmm.
this tour has been amazing. We've been all over the world. We've done India, South America, you're all of Europe, Brazil, Australia. I mean, we've just been going, and Canada and the U.S. of course. And I think we've done so far like 120 or 30 shows so far this year. And so uh, when this tour is done, I'm definitely going to. I
Take
tell
some
my wife,
time, I
I
bet.
know I'm not a guy, I'm a workaholic. My wife always says, "You don't even when you have a day off." Like, we have 2 days off next week because we're playing Crossroads with Eric Clapton in
Hmm.
LA. So we're gonna finish on like Monday, and then we play Friday in LA, and so everyone's going home to chill for like 3 days. And I'm making an album. I'm producing an album.
Wow.
So I'm at Ocean Way. I got it booked with studio, and I'm going in to make a record. But that's what I've been doing on this tour is Buddy has allowed me to. If there's a day off, I fly to Nashville and I go into the studio because I'm
Mm.
making all these records still, but I'm also out playing drums with Buddy. And so,
Right.
which I love. And
Cool.
I'm honored to do that on his farewell tour because I've played drums on all his records. And this is just that the band is so great. And everyone's coming out to pay tribute to Buddy. Uh,
Hmm.
we just did the Hollywood Bowl a couple nights ago, and everyone was there. And the Clapton thing, where Eric and Carlos Santana want to sit in with us during that. And so there's a lot of really, it's been amazing, and it's been amazing working with Buddy Guy. I mean,
Absolutely.
working, I don't know, I've done 7 or 8 of his albums, and it's been a blessing for sure.
That's great. I don't want to run out of time and not talk about your record. I have some notes here about your record. Tell me about your record, and you have some great guests on there, and so tell me about title, where we can get it, how you
Yeah,
pulled
it's
it
called
together.
it's called Blue Javu, like
Yep.
deja vu, but Blue
Hmm.
Javu. And it's on Quarter Valley Records, which is a really cool record company that Paul Rogers is on. And um, Edgar Winter won the Grammy this year.
Love Edgar.
Yep. And a lot of cool people. So I signed the deal with them, and they've been great. And
Hmm.
this record is available. I mean, you know, hopefully, I'd love for everybody to listen to it on wherever, Spotify, and wherever you listen to it. It's up everywhere. It's on Amazon or
Mhm.
iTunes. And but you can also go to my website, and I've signed a bunch of copies before I went out on tour. And so, anyone that wants a signed copy, just go to my website, order it, and you'll get it in the mail in a couple days. And it's a lot of the songs are about half of the songs are songs that I wrote for other people, but they're my versions.
Mhm.
So if you like, I'm trying to think of a song on the record, like, um, you know, Symptoms of Love, which is on
Mhm.
the latest Buddy Guy record, Blues Don't Lie, which was a Grammy record. Well, this is
Mhm.
my version that I play to Buddy when he goes, "Oh my gosh, I want to record that song." And
Yeah.
then when I record it with him, I change it. You know what I mean? I make it, I embellish it. So this is, you know, I try to take it one step further. But so there's a lot of these songs on the record that were recorded by Buddy or different people, and
Mhm.
but they're my version, so I'm singing them. And then there's a bunch of new songs that I wrote, and I've got a song called "That's My Home," which was on the Skin Deep record, which I
Mm.
wrote years ago, and me and Joe Bonamassa are recording that one, and he
Nice.
plays guitar in this song that's just insane, and he sings it as a duet with me, and that's a traveling
Joe's
song.
vocals, Joe and I talk about this whenever we get together. His vocals have come so far. He's now a very good vocalist, and his guitar playing and the way he attacks it is so mature now. I can't say enough about Joe. I love Joe as a person too. I just
Likewise, and I love him as a person too. That's a really cool thing you said, because a lot of people don't realize what kind of a helpful guy he is. I've seen him give back to a lot
yes.
of people and help things behind the scenes that you don't know about, and they see him on stage and he looks like this, you know,
Guy in a suit, and he's not your typical
guy in a
flutist.
suit, hard to get close to, but he's the sweetheart of a guy, and he's
Yes.
always there to help friends, and it was a blessing having him on my record. And matter of fact, another guitar player named Josh Smith is on the record,
Oh, he's a
who's just a
monster.
legendary guitar player who plays in Joe Bonamassa's band now.
Mhm.
And so he's on um, this really spooky song where I got him playing some crazy stuff, and one of the things that's cool. Oh, Buddy Guy, of course, the first single is me and Buddy Guy doing a song called "Ain't It Just Like Love," and
Mhm.
trading vocals, and you know, Buddy's awesome to do that. And there's another song called "The Blues Don't Care," which I wrote for Buddy Guy and Gary Clark Jr., and they did that on an
Mhm.
album. And then when I was recording Kingfish, Chris Stone Ingram Kingfish's Grammy-winning record, we were in the studio, and I was telling him I'm putting together my record, and if there's a song, and he goes, "I'd like to do Blues Don't Care if we could do that one." And
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I wrote it, sure, we can do it." And so we did that one together, and he kills on that and just sang the crap out of it. We're singing together, and and then another little bonus thing on the record is the last recording James Cotton ever did,
Oh, really?
yeah, is on my record. And that was, I did James Cotton's last record called Cottonmouth Man, which was another Grammy record.
Mhm.
And I know they did a big documentary with James Montgomery called
Yeah, I
Bonnie.
was there at the debut at the Somerville Theater. Yep. Yep.
I would have loved to have been there. I wrote Bonnie Blue with James,
Yep. Mhm.
the song Bonnie Blue. And so uh, when we were done that with that record, I my older brother who passed away a long time ago. My older
Mhm.
brother was 5 years older than me, and he was a guitar player, and he turned me on to so many of the people that I play with, which is kind of a drag because I go, he must be watching, because the people that he turned me on to, from Roy Buchanan to you know, Clapton to the Almonds,
Mhm.
I ended up working with. You know what I mean? And I'd be saying, man, if I could tell one person that I'm standing here doing this with Greg Allman, it would be my brother. But he's no longer with us. So, but he used to sneak me into clubs to see James Cotton. and
Yep.
he took me on to
Still
all
wanting to see,
Cotton records.
baby. I loved Cotton.
Yeah, 100% Cotton, the live record. And so I wrote a song called Brother John Boogie about for my brother.
Nice.
But and my dream was to have James Cotton record it with me. And I told him that after I did the Cottonmouth Man record. He goes, I'd love to do that. And so we went into the studio and played this boogie thing with Glenn Worf on bass and Robin Nelly on guitar and Chuck Leavell from the Allman Brothers
Mhm.
and me
Well,
on
they said
drums.
that's from the Rolling Stones, from the Allman
And for
Brothers.
the yeah, I know. He goes, the Rolling Stones, you mean? For 50? I go, no. Sea level.
That's right. I'm
And
with you, man. I'm with you.
southbound. And that's what I mean. These are guys, I just know them all. I mean, even though I'm working with them, I'm thinking, I know everything about you. I saw Sea Level play, anyways. Anyway, so we did this and James Cotton played, and so that's called Brother John Boogie, and that's one of the special ones on the record. And it's there's tons of songs, and it's out. It just came out yesterday, so I'm hoping. I don't know when this is going to come out, but I'd love for some people in the New England area to know it's out and go get a copy.
You will definitely get this out soon. We're winding down. I see my free account with Zoom. We got about 4.5 minutes left.
Okay.
But it's been wonderful talking to you, Tom, and I appreciate all the time. Especially, talking about Gary was really special.
Yeah, I mean, what a special cat. And it's good to see you. I'm glad everything's going well. You're in
Thank you.
Connecticut, rocking, and that's awesome.
Yeah, no, and I see you out on the road. I didn't want to claw my way back at Hampton Beach, and I know how hectic that is with people more important in your life than I.
No, anytime, man. Always, anybody, anytime. Just come up and find me.
Yeah.
I'd love to say hello and love to see you. You look good, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. So do you. Well, you take care of Buddy out there on the road, and I'm excited for the next chapter for you, really, because I feel like this is once Buddy is done and the touring aspects, it's going to open you up, and you've already been so brilliant.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate all the support over the years, Jim. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, absolutely. All right, Tommy, you take care, my friend.
Thank you. All right,
All
bye.
Go to the big house tonight or today.
I'm gonna go to. I'm invited to Capricorn, but I got to go to sound check now. But God bless you. All right.
Namaste. See ya.
Bye bye.